First of all, the game world won't be cut up into smaller sections, meaning if you see something on the horizon that interests you, you can go there, and there won't be any loading screens in between. The setting that mixes advanced technology and fantasy seemed pretty risky at first, but from what we've been shown, it looks very promising. From dense forests, snowy mountains, to abandoned settlements and ruined highways, the world seems quite diverse and the unique atmosphere works for its advantage. During our presentation, we got to see a certain area with a picturesque lake with a dam on it. According to the developers, this single location is the size of the old camp from the first Gothic, and this just might be Piranha's biggest title to date. The reveal of the jetpack might have raised some eyebrows initially, but in the pre-alpha version, it works well within the gameplay. The jetpack is not powerful enough to fly around like in GTA, for example, and is used mostly to cross ledges, get to higher places, or hover around for a few seconds when you're fighting a tougher enemy. Seeing how the world is quite big and the jetpack might not be enough, one might wish for some more travel options, like a small mech or even a car, seeing that there are wrecked automobiles in the game. The developers, however, say that there won't be any unlockable vehicles, but after a while, we'll unlock teleportation, just like in Gothic, that will speed up our travels a bit. To sum up, the world is big, varied, and the jetpack doesn't spoil the exploration at all. On the contrary, it makes it even more fun. The game looks better than what we've seen before behind closed doors, but one has to keep in mind that this title does not have a budget of, let's say, a Bethesda or a Rockstar game. The locations look unique and have a certain nice post-apo feel to it, and the protagonist doesn't seem so out of place as you would have thought, wearing a futuristic armor and simultaneously using a plasma rifle and a sword. However, when it comes to animations, some more work needs to be done. The shooting is quite good, but when it comes to hand-to-hand combat, fighting is far from what we know from, let's say, Dark Souls. We just feel like a tank. It just isn't as responsive and as fluid as we would want it to be, yet. What is more, it remains to be seen whether we'll be able to make a character build based on long-range combat, as it seems to be much more fun than waving around a sword. As of now, all those guns and the black hole launcher of sorts, which caught our attention, seem like a last resort, with ammo and grenades being quite limited. However, taking into account that we'll have larger bosses in the game after a while, and even in the demo we fought some mechs, it's safe to assume that later in the game we'll be able to rely much more on the futuristic arsenal and all those beautiful weapons. Despite the futuristic long-range weapons, I personally enjoyed a downward slash of sorts, when our character hovered off the ground with a jetpack and then dealt a devastating blow to his enemies with the use of a sword. I just hope there are more combos like that, combos that utilize the jetpack and our weapons, because certainly there's much potential here for fun gameplay. Apart from the fantasy elements and science fiction additions in the form of cybernetic Alps, mechs and vicious mutants or ELEX-powered weapons, the game will also have some post-apocalyptic themes. In some parts of the demo, we saw wrecks of modern cars and even a small house with a garage that looks much like what some of us live in today. Sure, the world of ELEX has suffered a calamity before the events of the game, thus the inclusion of modern furniture and wrecked cars is understandable, but it might be annoying after a while. Imagine, you're returning to town after completing a quest with your plasma rifle and sword in hand, and then you see a porta potty and some townspeople in futuristic armor moving IKEA furniture. However, it can also work the other way around and prove one of the game's strengths, if the developers build on the concept of modern civilization having ended before the events of the game, just like in Fallout. Time will tell. One of the elements of the Gothic trilogy that the fans loved was the faction system. After a while, we had to choose which group in the game we will join, and which was tied to the class we could later choose. That had effect not only on the story and how other characters treated us, but also on the way we played and what exclusive items we unlocked. This time around, however, our choices will also unlock exclusive skills, so it's imperative that we think it through before making a choice. The factions in ELEX will also have a reputation system of 3 levels, and each dialogue, according to Bjorn himself, will in some way influence our reputation system and our character's morality.